The woman was horrified to discover she was being followed by an old lady. Even she was on the speeding train. The old lady kept appearing outside the window. The old lady seemed to be warning her about something, but every time Amy leaned forward to get closer, the old lady would immediately step back, maintaining just the right distance to remain out of sight and earshot. Amy grew frustrated, thinking the old woman was playing games with her, so she walked away without looking back. But after a few minutes, she turned around to find the old lady still following her, and no matter how fast Amy ran, she couldn't shake her off. Just when Amy didn't know what to do, a woman out hiking happened to pass by, and Amy quickly told her what had just happened. The hiker thought it might be a prank and agreed to help Amy by asking the old lady what was going on. She soon approached the old woman, but strangely, after the old lady said a few words, the hiker looked at Amy in terror, then screamed and ran away like crazy. Amy was terrified by this scene and fled as fast as she could toward a nearby town, but looking back, the old lady was still following her, which scared her into ducking into a hotel up ahead. The room full of people gave her a temporary sense of safety, so Amy quickly poured out her story to everyone, explaining that she was being followed by a strange old lady and wondering if anyone in town knew her. The hotel owner looked and said it was an unfamiliar face, but she looked very old and probably meant Amy no harm, then suggested inviting her in to sit down and clear up any misunderstanding face to face. However, when the owner went outside, the same thing happened again. After listening to what the old lady said, the owner looked at Amy in horror and ran away like a madman. This scared Amy badly, and she immediately decided to stay at the hotel for the night and not leave. But after a whole night passed, the old lady was still standing at the door. Left with no choice, Amy booked the room for another 7 days, wanting to see how long this old lady could last. But on the 5th day, the owner's wife wanted to kick her out because with Amy staying there, the old lady kept standing at the door, seriously affecting business. And after the owner had talked to the old lady that day, he'd vanished into thin air and never returned. With no other option, Amy could only take a train home, and once there, she told her mother about it. This strange old lady was seriously disrupting her life. Her mother had a bright idea for getting rid of the old lady. They'd just need to stay on a phone call. Her mother could get close enough to hear what the old lady was saying and relay it to her. And as Amy's mother, whatever the old lady said couldn't possibly bewitch her. With that, her mother walked straight toward the old lady. But as she got closer and closer, Amy noticed the phone signal getting worse and worse, and she couldn't hear what the old lady and her mother were saying at all. Realizing something was terribly wrong, she quickly shouted for her mother to come back, but it was already too late. Her mother looked at her in horror, then ran away like she'd gone mad. Amy chased her for 8 blocks before catching up, but by then her mother had gotten into a taxi and was looking at Amy with utter disgust before quickly leaving town without looking back. From then on, her mother vanished without a trace, and no matter what Amy tried, she couldn't find her. Amy realized this old lady seemed to have some terrible supernatural power, so she went to the Supernatural Management Bureau, hoping they could help solve the problem. The commander was quite professional, and after understanding the situation, immediately arranged to photograph the old lady with an ultra-high-definition camera. But when they opened the photos, they were stunned. No matter how close they got to photograph the old lady, the images came out completely blurry. However, through calculations, they determined that the old lady maintained a constant distance of 73 yards from Amy. As she gave the order, hundreds of Special Forces soldiers quickly surrounded the old lady, and the commander reminded them not to talk to the old lady under any circumstances. Just grab her directly. But suddenly, all the soldiers froze, and after hearing what the old lady said, they all stared straight at Amy. Even the commander's face suddenly turned serious as she turned to look at Amy, immediately announcing a retreat before leaving without looking back. Even though Amy screamed her lungs out, it was no use. This experience left Amy in complete despair.